What's up, YouTube? Today I'm here to talk about how do you make a nice data visualization. My name is Kaylin Tian. I'm a Northeastern third year data science and business student. Let me start sharing my screen over here. Today's content is going to come from my professor, John Gomez, from BS 4200 data visualization class. And our textbook used are data visualization analysis and design from Ms. Tamara Mosnier. And yeah, let's just get started. So yesterday I went out brunch with a friend that I haven't met for a long time. She's a finance major, and she was like, "Caitlin, you are change your major to data science this year. So what do you learn in class?" And I was like, oh, so I'm taking a data visualization class. It was really cool. We learned about D3, which is a little bit like JavaScript, and Vegalite, which is my favorite. So you can code your visualization out with Vegalite grammar. And she was like, oh, how come you don't use Tableau? Because I love Tableau. You can just make your graph right away within seconds, and it's so easy. Isn't that data visualization is going to be all about how you present it instead of fancy, because to me is faster is better, and she is absolutely correct. So on our class we actually care more about insight than the actually how fancy you're going to make your graph. Like before making your graph, you're going to think about the user, task, and your data. So who are the person looking at it, how many domain knowledge they know, that you cannot make your graph too confusing for your audience, and what are the available data going to be to you, and for this visualization, and the task, what do you want to achieve from this, because you don't want to underrepresent the data you want to show or overrepresent the data. And today, my primary focus is going to go through on how do you choose the right visualization instead of teaching you how do you really doing all those fancy graphs. And when you're trying to choose, you want to ask yourself what, why, and how. So what are the data given? Attributes are embedded in those data set, and the features we want to highlight, and why are we doing this visualization in the start, and how do you find the most effective and expressive way for telling your story in terms of what. So you want to look at what kind of data set you have. So you could have table, networks, fields, geometry, and temporal. Usually people, the most common data set that user are gonna get are tables, which is common rows and columns. If you're using datetime as your main attributes, that's gonna be temporal. You want to look at what attributes you want to highlight in your data visualization. Is this going to be categorical, or just like if you have clothes, you have pants and shirts, that's categorical, or ordered, which is like order is going to be like 1 to 10, that would be order data. And order and direction, if these are sequential, which is just like 1 to 10, or like January to December. Divergent, which would be like a temperature. So if your Celsius is under 0 or like above 0, or cyclical. Actually, I think months will be like cyclical, because when you go to December, you go back to January again. And data set availability, which is are those data sets going to be available after number of months, and if that, then you will want to highlight that, or maybe automatically update in your data visualization. The reason we talk about it is we want to look at how many attributes you want to highlight in your data visualization, and you don't want to confuse the users if your data are actually cyclical or sequential, but you're showing it as a divergent, or it just is categorical, but you are actually showing ordered. You don't want to show your months to like 1 to 12 if that's not if that was not obvious. So that would really confuse the users. And in terms of why, in our class we translate all our common tasks. So like folk language to our data science. We call it tomorrow grammar, which we extract the verb and the noun from the task. So you want to look at if you're analyzing this data, are you consuming this data or produce something from it? And do you know if you're searching, are you know your target you're looking for, and do you know the location of it? And depends on that, you have look up, browse, locate, and explore. And at last, you want to for the verbs, you want to look at if you are identifying or comparing or summarize the whole data set. The target, which is a noun from your task, are you looking at, if you're looking at all the data, the whole picture, you want to look at the overall trend or the outliers or the features from this um, data set. And in terms of attributes, are you looking for one attribute or more? So if you're one, you can look at the distribution of those attributes, or if there are any outliers, extreme, or many, which is two attributes, you want to look at the dependency, correlation, or similarity. Those will be very important before you're making your graph. So you know how many attributes and what kind of idiom you want to choose to represent your task. And at last, we look at the how, which is how do you choose the right way to represent it. So in terms of the idiom, we have marks and channels. Marks are the main vehicles we use to present our visualizations, which is going to be like points, line, or areas. And channels are the like little Lego pieces you use to represent your visualization. So if you're ordered attributes, you can look at the position, length, angle, area, steps, volumes to represent your data. Or if you're categorical, you can use spatial region, colors, shapes, all kind of those things to represent different categories. And on this graph, the higher position on this chart, the more effective user is going to recognize. As I think a lot of people are going to share this experience, looking at the bar chart or a pie chart, you're going to tell probably immediately in terms of the difference between 45 and 50 a bar chart, but it's going to be a bit harder on a pie chart to tell the difference between 45% and 50%. And this slide, I just want to show some of my failed attempts earlier in this class as a data science homework. The first one is a visualization I have did for the female labor force in different countries. And as we can see, I really hate this visualizations is because it moves, it's the animation, and it takes a while for you to look at this graph to figure out, oh, so the color is changing, like a lot of countries are moving up, that's great, but you probably want the visualization that is user can tell what you want to say right away. So I really hate this visualization. This is probably going to be my classic example I want to show to people my earlier attempts, earlier failure as a data science career. And this one is Netflix genre breakout that I have did just a few weeks ago. Professor pointed out she really hated this, and I can also see that because it's a pie chart and there are so many actually the genres I want to show, category I want to show on this graph that is not very clear, and if anything, bar chart would be a better choice to tell the difference in distribution. And in this slide, I just want to show my better attempts in my data visualization. The first one, just bar chart, Netflix country production distribution, and it's just a bar chart, something you can do on Excel. I really love it because it's so easy, it's so clear, and it tells a message straight away. And the second one is data visualization I did from last week is on the Disney revenue um, distribution. And I love that you can select and you can highlight numbers of things. So you can see that in 1994, the Lion King has produced a very higher, rel relatively higher revenue. And over here, you can see this is probably Star Wars, I'm guessing. Yes, so that would be very clear, but and users can just play around it. I think that's more interactive. So definitely my more successful attempt, but not probably not the best way to represent this, to be honest, still. And yeah, so at the end of this video, just want to remind you guys what I really want to say is number one, data visualization is all about the insight. So if before you start your making your graphs, it's more important that you find what you're trying to do and your user data and task before you starting even choosing your idiom. And the less is more, go with what is more effective on conveying the message. So you can go to my how graph, look at more effective channel you want to convey. Um, so like function for, how do you say it? Function first, form last. And last and not least, do not make the audience think. So just like my animation, do not is best idiom is probably going to be the one that the audience look at it and can tell what you're trying to convey right away. So sometimes animation and 3D are not the best way to. Yeah, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoy it, and yeah.